just waiting for you to do.
Thank you for tuning in to episode 46 of the Brooklyn Fishing Club podcast. I'm your host, Victor Lucia, founder and president of the BFC. This episode is brought to you by Brooklyn Fishing Club Apparel. We've restocked our notorious hoodies for the holidays, so visit brooklynfishingclub.com and get yours while supplies last. On this episode, we're joined by an angler who achieved what many dream of when he landed the world record striped bass. Since then, he's published a book, caught bass over 100 pounds, and landed a deal with Mark Cuban on Shark Tank. Ladies and gentlemen, the Warren Buffett of fishing, Greg Myerson.
Hello.
Hey, Greg, it's Victor. How you doing?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Not too much. Thank you so much for giving me some time today for this interview. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I'm just hanging out for a little while here. I got some time. What's going on?
Not too much. I have some questions for you. I want to hear all about the Greg Myerson story, and to begin, I'd really like to hear how it all started for you. How'd you get into fishing? Who got you into it? Where did this whole thing begin?
Well, geez, I don't know. I was actually just born. I think I came out of the womb with a fishing rod in my hand. My mother said I used to fish in the sewer all the time in front of the house. And nobody in my family fished, so I don't really know where it came from, I just loved it for some reason before I even caught one,
Yeah, so you got into it as a kid. Would you start with saltwater, freshwater?
I grew up, I had ponds and stuff around, and I lived in, my family was all from Brooklyn, so they moved out into the country and built a house when I was 2, and to them it was all kind of foreign, but for me, I grew up hunting, fishing, trapping, so they had no idea like where I came from, but really it was just, there wasn't really much anything else to do, So, then I got into trout fishing, and I got into fly fishing. For me, I started enjoying like catching fish with things I made, like trying to outsmart them. And tying flies, I really love, and I still do all the time. And like modifying my rods and making smaller ones for smaller streams and stuff like that. Just fishing whenever I could, keeping a rod on board of some sort, of anywhere I go, even to this day,
So what are you doing more of these days? Are you doing more trout fishing or more striper fishing?
I'm doing more trout fishing, actually. Yeah, I love dry fly fishing. It's just I like spending a lot of time tying them and trying to copy patterns, and then I get out there, and I live near a couple of really good streams, like world class trout streams, the Farmington and Salmon River in Connecticut, and they're just really great. I mean, I have some monsters I've caught in there.
That's cool. That's interesting to hear that the striper fishing is kind of taking a back seat right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving them a break. They needed a break, so I'm kind of giving them a break, and I mean, I've gotten into so many other things. Like I bought a house out in the woods on 25 acres in the middle of nowhere. I have like no neighbors. I've really gotten into bow hunting and, like trying to manage the property the right way and, grow out some really big bucks out here. And I spend a lot of time alone, and I spend a lot of time in the woods. I have a lot of gardening I do. My hobbies have changed from fishing. I don't do it competitively, so I'm not as into it as I was, I don't know. I still like to go out and drift the reef every once in a while with some eels, but it's just, I've caught so many striped bass, in my lifetime. It's just like, and I still love it, but I'm just not like I at one point in my life, I was obsessed with golf, and I did it all the time. And then there was another time I was obsessed with skiing, and I just did it all the time. And then there was fishing. and it was nonstop with that. And now it's changing, I'm just constantly changing.
So it seems like whatever you get locked into, you want to be the best at it, whatever it is. I know you used to be you played you played football. You got offers to play Division I football, but you wanted to go fishing in Rhode Island. So it seems
I did. I played Division I in Rhode Island for URI because I was was on the water and it was close to home. They were good, and I should have probably went to Tennessee or one of the other bigger schools where I probably would have been playing on Sunday if I did, but I was a kid making bad decisions and didn't have a lot of good guidance,
So do you?
But I don't regret it.
Do you think if you what do you think you'd be doing if you didn't create World Record Striper Company and have the World Record Stripe Bass? What would Greg Myerson be?
I'd probably still be doing the same thing I'm doing right now. I would have eventually landed here one way or the other.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So let's hear about the process of catching the World Record Stripe Bass. If I'm not mistaken, did you broke the record of 29 years, and then did you break your own record as well? How many records have been broken?
I have caught some really big fish that were bigger than the one that's on paper, since that fish, I probably caught two that were definitely bigger fish than that I released. It's like, there's a lot when you catch a world record fish. It's good and everything, and then you start thinking, then you start regretting it kind of, and then you're in all these tournaments, and you're like, who am I really fishing for here? I'm making other people money, and I'm killing fish, and they don't care, So then I was like, and I got, it wasn't all good catching the world record. You get a lot of shit from people that don't even fish. You know what I mean? Or some people that do fish, but they're right. They're right. You're killing them for a piece of paper, and it's just. I've changed since then. I used to be a killer. I would deer hunt. I would kill deer just to kill them, and I thought that's the way it was, and then I fished. I'd go and try to win all these tournaments, and I thought that's what I wanted to do. And at the time, I guess I did. But after a while, you realize, like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm just killing stuff just for what? And it's just not it becomes not a good feeling,
Yeah.
So I try to after changing, I tried to do what I could for conservation as much as I could, and I kind of lost some friends, doing that, pissing people off that were having like big money tournaments, and I won't mention any names, but it hurt them financially, but it's not for financial gain to fish. It shouldn't be anyway. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I can see, fishing equipment and all that, but to kill fish for money isn't cool. I don't care at what level you're doing it.
So did you have a light bulb moment where you just realized I'm just completely over this, or was it like a gradual?
It was gradual, but the thing that set it off the most was like when the DEP studied the fish and they came back and told me it was 26 years old, and and then I started thinking about it. I'm like, 26 years, all the hurricanes and storms it's been through, and nor'easters and party boats and fishermen and all the shit it's eluded predators and all this shit. And there it is. I wipe it out, and for what? A world record piece of paper on the wall. Yeah, it's cool, but that's the end of the fish. You know what I mean? So then when I caught a bigger one off Block Island that was probably closer to 100 pounds, and I was with my cousin, and we were looking at each other like, what the hell are we going to do? It's bigger than the other one, he said. I go, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I just put it back over the side, and it swam away fine. And he's like, all right, because he got it. He's like, I get it. And we just kept fishing. And then another fish came after that, which was, we figured, by the measurements and the girth and the length and everything, that it was 106 pounds, And same thing with that fish. Everybody was like, wanted to take pictures, and then I put it right back in the water, and that was the end of that, and no one said a word. But I'm not killing another fish for a piece of paper, and it's just not a good feeling. It's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I'm taking a break from it right now. I'm learning a lot about the Connecticut River where I live. I live on the Connecticut River now, close to that, and I'm like learning the waterway there and fishing there, and making my way to the ocean to the sound and stuff. And I got a small 17-foot aluminum, and
nice.
it's kind of a bass boat, But I have a ton of friends that I taught how to fish when they were young, and then I foot the bill for 20 years until they finally, bought their own boats and have their own slips. And now I don't have to have a boat. You know what I mean? I still fish with them just as much as we did for 20 years, but now they're paying for everything. You know what I mean? And I don't fish as much anyway. So like whenever I want to go, they'll let me take over. I'll run the boat. We'll go where I want to go. You know what I mean? There's no question. It alleviates another bunch of things that I don't want to deal with. Like, all the boat, when you own a boat, a fishing boat, is tons of stuff you have to maintain and pay for.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I'm not into that anymore. I don't want to do that. Like, I don't care.
So when you got the world record striper, what did you think about the overall reaction from the fishing community as a whole? Was it positive? Were people cheering you on, or did you notice that more so there were a lot of haters?
Like I didn't really look at all, like I wasn't really paying much attention to it. My brother called me. He's like, "Hey man," he goes, "How you doing?" I go, "I'm all right." He goes, "Don't read the internet." I go, "Why? What's it saying?" He goes, just go fishing, So I did. I took his advice. I didn't, but there's a lot of, I had a lot of positive support from people too, good, people I didn't even know that, which was cool. Like when I look back now, every so often at it, or check something out, and I see my name pop up here or there, I don't mind what people say. Like, that's what makes this country great. You don't have to appreciate everybody and agree with them or even like them. I kind of now like the people that like dig into you a little bit, and it doesn't bother me. I'm like, I like that guy, even though he just slammed me. You know what I mean? Because I would probably do the same thing, or I'd think it, but I wouldn't always say it. I learned to pick no fights on the internet. That's just a bad thing to do. Don't question anybody's bad comments. Don't talk back to anybody on a post, or don't try to have an argument with people on the internet, because it's just a bad idea.
No,
you know what I mean? It's not going to go anywhere.
It's a lose-lose. It's not.
Yeah.
Nothing,
yeah. I mean,
nothing
I have more important things to do with my time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm clearing land out here all the time, and I'm cutting trees, food plots, and I'm making Jeep trails and quad trails and putting up tree stands. If I have a minute to spend looking at the internet about someone's story about what they think of me, then just shoot me.
Yeah, if you have a minute to spend looking at the internet, it's me harassing you in your DMs trying to get you on the show.
Yeah, I mean, really, like, I've gotten to the point in my life, like, I left my house in Wallingford. I still own it. I have an apartment there. It's a multifamily. I go back, once in a while, but the more I'm back there, the less I want to be there, because it's just there's people, or like out here, there's no garbage. There's no one around. Like I go for weeks without talking to anyone. And I thought in the beginning, like I felt kind of like lonely at first out here. And then it was like, I enjoyed a little bit of visits here and there when people will stop by. And now it's to the point where I don't even want anybody to visit me, I go, I come home, I work close by. I'm an inspector. I'm on the highway for, actually, I'm doing a bridge coming up in East Haddam, right in my town, inspecting all the electrical work for the swing bridge near the Goodspeed Opera House. And that project's starting. It's a 3-year job.
That's cool.
I get home.
You have a day job as well. You're still.
Yeah. I never stopped working. Never through any of this.
A lot of people wouldn't believe that. I mean, they see you on Shark Tank,
they don't. Yeah.
And they think all of a sudden you just became a millionaire and you're just hanging out now.
Well, in 2019, I almost got killed in a plane crash, and it really changed my perspective on life big time. I was at Bradley Airport, and I was inspecting the taxiway there. You know, I'm a consultant for federal construction projects. That's my job. So like when the feds offer money to a project like $30 million for an airport renovation, they hire me to be a consultant on the project. You know, so I inspect stuff. I give them recommendations of what I think, and I actually like the job after being a union electrician for 30 years. You know, but so I was out there inspecting, and this old B-17 bomber full of people that paid for this charter trip crashed right out in the middle of nowhere and exploded into flames. You know, almost right into me. And I tried to rescue people. I damaged my lungs. I watched a lot of people burn to death, you know, and I went into shock. I was all fucked up. So after that, I bought this place out in the woods, and I spent a lot of time alone out here getting my shit together and reevaluating, you know, and I become really selfish with my time. You know what I mean? I'm like, look, fuck, I only got so much time left. Like, do I really want to spend it hanging out with somebody I don't want to hang out with, or doing something I don't want to do? You know, like you never know when it's going to be over with. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, I think I've changed so much in the last 5 or 6 years that I'm not even close to the same person I was, you know,
so
back then.
You're just out there working, and then all of a sudden you hear this thing coming in, and it just,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. It was big news. It was, I think 13 people were on board. I saw 2 come out on fire, and then the rest burned to death, you know, and they're begging you for help, and you can't get them out. You know, it's like, it's too hot. And so I cooked my lungs. I was
jet fuel.
Jet fuel is not as flammable. These old planes, they run on high octane gasoline, which is way more explosive and fire and dangerous. So it was like a freaking nuclear bomb went off because the thing had just been filled. You know, it caused some serious PTSD. You know, which I never even knew existed. Like people talked about it, I never really knew what it was. You know.
Yeah. No, it's real.
But then I started having all this freaking like weird things happen to me. Like I would be really claustrophobic. I couldn't close the doors on rooms. Like I couldn't go in an elevator. I couldn't go anywhere where I was locked in or closed in or a door closed behind me. I took the doors off of all the rooms in my house, so no one could lock me in. You know, it's crazy shit. Now I'm out here and there's not a human sound. I'm a mile deep in the woods, and the only thing I hear is planes when I come over, and I'm looking at them I used to get really pissed, you know. I'm like, why can't you fly somewhere else? But you know, now I've chilled out a lot, you know, and
that's crazy.
I don't know.
I feel like, you know, you could be doing like even more with the fact that you have the world record striper, and you're almost just seems like you're just content with you know what you've got, and I think that's awesome. It's awesome. I feel like a lot of people would be milking this like as hard as they could, you know, like really just going for it with social media posts every day and all that, and just content. Like, I feel you. It's
the business thing took on a mind of its own. The whole rattlesnker thing, like I couldn't have stopped that if I never told anybody I used those. I used them my whole life. I invented them to catch fish. You know, they work. But
how old were you when you invented them?
I never intended it to be a business. You know, and then when people found out I was using them, they wanted them. You know, and then it became like I became a slave to the things, because I didn't want to let people down, and I didn't want to turn it over to anybody else because I didn't want an inferior product. And then it just got so big that I got sick of it. And then when the plane crash happened, I totally packed it in. I didn't.
You're like, I'm done.
I did. I was like, fuck this. I'm not doing this. I'm going to hang out here and cut wood, you know? So, you know, Mark Cuban was getting kind of pissed off, but when they found out what happened, they were like, you know, with the plane and all this shit, they were like, yeah, this guy's, he's not doing anything. Like, we're going to have to do something, you know? He came up with a partner, a business to take us over, you know? And they picked up where I left off. And now, if you look, you know, they made a huge deal with Amazon. I changed the look of the product right before all this shit happened. And then there was a ton of stuff made, and I just didn't want to, like, I was getting phone calls from production people and like people that wanted to help, like we had a plan, like there was like a lot of business planning going into it, and we had it already. And then I was just like, I bailed. I disappeared. And like, no one could make a move because I wasn't okay in anything. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And I was like blocking them. I was blocking them on, like, I didn't want to talk about it, and they were like, well, what the hell is going on? So, then Cuban got involved with his guys, and they figured it out. They took it over. And actually they're doing pretty good, like, so now when if somebody doesn't like a price or something like that, it's not me. I'm not the one calling any of those shots
they can
anymore.
Take it up with the cubes.
Yeah, take it up with them because I don't give a shit, and good luck,
That is awesome. I love it. But you still, obviously, still own a piece of it, right? I mean.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm not the majority owner anymore, but I own enough. And these people that bought it were a bunch of investors from Colorado, and I don't know. They got it together with their connections. They're having it produced, and they're selling a shit ton of them. I know that.
That's beautiful. So you're living the dream.
Yeah.
You're sitting back. I don't even. They're making this money, and you invented it.
They called me yesterday and said, "Send us an invoice, and we'll send you money." I said, "Take the money and just reinvest it back into the company." And I didn't even want the money.
Should tell them to pay you in more land.
That's right. Yeah, come out here and buy this 10 acres next to my 25, and then we'll talk.
Yeah, you need more room to invent more stuff.
Their plan is to really get it cranking, and then they're going to sell it to someone bigger, like Pure Fishing or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they're doing all the stuff that I would never do and didn't want to do and couldn't do. Like I invented it. I got it to where it was, but it wasn't really what I wanted to do with my life, so I just bailed on it. And now they see the potential because when they stepped in, before they had a chance to advertise, they sold every one of them on Amazon and had to order more.
Well, that's a good sign.
The guy told me yesterday, he goes, we didn't even get a chance to put the advertising together, and we were like, got cleaned out. I said, yeah, it works.
Amazing.
It's just a simple thing, and it really works on attracting fish.
So do you think that you'll ever invent anything else that will, rival the Rattlesinker's success? Are you driven to, create something?
I have a book with like 90 different things that all fishing related that I've come up with,
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, there's a good chance that if this company wants to expand, they're going to come to me, and I already have 100 things I could give them one at a time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what was so what was the Shark Tank experience like? How did you end up on like getting to the final round and everything?
It was terrifying, actually. I mean, like flying to Hollywood by myself. Luckily, one of my friends from college came along. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't even have made it there. Like we had connecting flights and this and that, and I was just like a mess. I didn't even know. I'm going from the whole country to do what? I didn't really even want to do it. You know what I mean? It wasn't a plan. It was so when the Rattlesinker started getting popular and people wanted them, I asked my cousin, who's a lawyer, I go, "You think I should like patent this thing?" They're like, "Oh yeah, call this guy at UConn Law School. He runs the patent department." So he's like, "Oh, I'm a fisherman." When I called him, he goes, "I know who you are." He goes, "Come down." So next thing you know, I'm signing a letter of confidentiality with a Chinese student who's going to work on the thing for his grade, trademark it, patent it, this and that, And I'm over there directing traffic one day in Bridgeport when my buddy's working on a street light, and I get a call from Hollywood, California. Like they're like, "Oh yeah, we're Shark Tank." I'm like, I go, "Wow, yeah, I've heard of you." Yeah, and they're like, I go, "I never watched the show, but they're like, "Well, you just filed a patent application." I go, "Oh, I did." I didn't even realize it. I guess it becomes like public knowledge once it's filed, and they watch that stuff. So they called me. They're like, "What's your invention do?" I go, "It's a fish call. That tracks fish through sound. It works good. I caught the world record straight fast." Next thing you know, they were all into it, and they were like dying to get me out there, and I didn't really want to go. It took like 6 months of them trying before I even okayed to it.
So they were on you about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and the lady called me every day. She's like, 30,000 people a day try to get on this show. I go, "Well, let them get on it then." I go, "I really don't give a fuck, lady." Okay, and I'd hang up. And then these people would call me and they'd be like, come on, man, this would be great. Great for who? Great for you. I go, I don't want to fucking go out there. Like 10 million people watching me. I go, right now, like, I'm kind of a cool dude. I'm a fisherman. People dig me. I go, when I go in front of 10 million fucking people and they make me look like a fucking asshole because I have been watching the show and it kind of sucks. I go, I don't want to be that guy. I really don't give a shit. And they're like, we promise you it won't be, and eventually I got talked into it by my brother and a few other people. They're like, yeah, fuck it. Just go out there and do stupid shit, So I remember being in the hotel room and my brother came down. He lives in Oregon and, he's a military guy, Yale grad, athlete, works for Nike, businessman. He comes down, he's like, you got to do this, you got to do that. You got to know your bottom lines. And I go, fuck. He's looking at me in the hotel room, and my best friend's looking at me, and I'm just like in a fucking coma, looking forward, and they're like, "This isn't gonna work." My brother goes, "You know what?" He goes, "Doing stupid shit your whole life got you this far." He goes, "Just go out there and do stupid shit." Now he goes, "Let's go to Venice Beach and surf or skateboard or something." So we went out there, and then when the Shark Tank thing happened, they were standing there in the parking lot. I had to go by myself, got in a van full of people, and headed to the Sony Picture Studio, And my brother salutes me, and I drive away, and next thing you know, I'm on my way back with a deal.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome!
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you went into it pretty lackadaisical about it. You were just kind of like, yeah, if I get a deal, whatever. Like,
yeah,
you already knew it worked. You knew it was good.
I'm like, I'm not letting you fucking guys make me look like an idiot. And to tell you the truth, like we got into it a few times, and I broke their balls. Like Damon John, I broke his balls back. They edited that stuff out. They didn't want it.
Really?
The producers wanted it, and the show wanted it.
Tell me about that.
The Sharks didn't want it.
What happened?
Yeah, so like Damon John posted this picture, and the producers called me, and this is long before I went on the show. They were like, he just caught a fish, and he's got this tiny fish on a yacht and a cocktail in his hand. It was like a porgy or something. I don't know what the fuck it was, but I'm like, yeah. They're like, why don't you, if you can, get the opportunity in your pitch to bring it up, like break his balls about it, we'll put a picture of it up on the screen next to yours, And so during the pitch, he's like, as a fellow fisherman, you should take this deal that Cuban had offered, And I'm like, yeah, I know you fish. I saw a picture of a fish on the internet that you caught, and then bam, it came up on the wall, on a big picture of this little fish. I go, what the fuck is that? I go, that's not even big enough for bait where I come from, And he's like, well, it was big enough for a sandwich. I go, I started laughing. I go, come on, man. I go, you don't fish, And then he got real defensive about it. And then the other guy, Herzovek, told me he was out. I said, well, you're dead to me then. I don't even have to look your way. I said, I'll just look from here over, And, yeah, I was really giving it to him pretty good. And then I kind of hit on Lori Grenier a little bit when I went up there to give her a sample, and they edited that out. And she didn't seem to mind it too much either, So.
What'd you say to Lori?
It was a bunch of shit. Yeah.
What'd you say to Lori? You shot your shot with Lori.
Yeah, I don't want to really say, but I kind of just, told her she was looking good.
She does look good. Oh man. What up, Lori?
Yeah, I'm like, hey, yeah, but I mean, even at my worst moment, I got to look down her shirt when I brought out and dropped off her sample, My most stressful moment of my life, I still got to check those boobies out. You know what I mean?
You're like, everything's going to be fine.
Yeah. And a calmness came over my body, And
then you looked up and saw Mr. Wonderful's face, and then you just panicked again.
You know what? That guy could be intimidating,
I bet. He looks like an evil cave troll.
And Cuban put me on the spot. He's like, if you listen to his deal, I'm out. I'm like, fuck, I got a deal on the table. I didn't expect anything,
So after you got the deal, did you see Cuban very soon after that, or what was the process?
Oh yeah,
after that?
I mean, we shook hands. I walked off, and then we had a lot of due diligence. They call it. It's a ton of paperwork. He doesn't just hand you money.
Yeah.
Basically, you're signing your life away. But so the deal I made with him was he was going to handle everything, and I was going to have to do anything. And that sounded pretty good to me, And he had another little fishing company that was going to handle it, but they were like, we can't fucking make this thing. It's not in our wheelhouse. I'm like, he's like, well, you're going to have to do it. I go, that's not the fucking deal we shook on, man. I go, in front of the whole country. He goes, well, just keep the money and figure it out, you know? He goes, you don't have to pay me back. So I did the best I could, and then he took over eventually, and now it's running a little better. I tried to do too much at once with all these products I had. And I'm like, I don't know shit about business. I didn't even know the difference between wholesale and retail till I was on the show, you know? And I got a crash course from him in business in like no time, like a business degree from that guy. And I bit off more than I could chew, and I started realizing it. I'm like, I'm trying to do too much. I'm not focusing on the one thing I really need to, you know, which is the rattlesnake. And then it's me. I'm not even focusing on me, which is really what I should be doing. You know, like I'm just trying to sell these fucking things, and I don't even care. And it's taking up all my time. I'm getting out of work, going to work. I'm at the post office. I'm not fishing. I'm mailing shit. I'm just like, you know, and then the plane crash happened on top of that. It was like, fuck this. And then COVID hit. You know, it was like when COVID hit, people really wanted it because they didn't have anything better to do but look at stupid shit on the internet all day, you know?
Yeah, I think the fishing industry is one of the few industries that thrived during COVID.
Everybody wanted to go fishing.
Yep.
And I sold out of all my shit like instantly. And I never tried to renew it. I was like, good, it's gone. I don't have to do this anymore. But that's not the way it works when you're in a business with a millionaire or billionaire. You know what I mean? And then the book, when the book came out, that Born to Fish book, that thing sold a shit ton of copies. And that was like almost as big a deal than the rattlesnake was. They came to me. They were like, we want to write a book about your story. I'm like, I don't think anyone's going to want to read it. But the guy's like, wow.
Who approached you?
Scoville, Galen, and Gosh. They're a literary agency in Manhattan.
So what, you just got an email one day and they were like, hey.
Yeah, I got a call from Russ Galen, and he's like, I want to write this book. You know, I want to have someone write it. So then he hired Tim Gallagher to write it, and Tim Gallagher was a professor at Ithaca College in the ornithology department, and we spent a lot of time together over like 4 years or so before the book came out.
So 4 years went into that book? I mean, obviously your whole life went into it, but the process.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of shit was left out.
Isn't that crazy what editors do? Editors just
I mean, there's some bad stuff. So I've had a brutal time like growing up, you know. So like a lot of the stuff was in there was pretty horrible to people, but it's not even close to what like some of the bad shit that really did happen.
So you think the editors glossed it over a little bit?
Well, I mean, they would ask me, like, you really want to put this in there? Do you want to put that in there? You know, and I would say, no, you know, let's keep that out. Let's, you know, whatever. Like, I had the final say on everything, you know?
So what was it like for you growing up?
Oh, my father was a bookie for the mob. He was Jewish, and he was really good at what he did. And he worked with Billy Grasso at a big crime family out of Connecticut, you know, and they called him the Jew. You know, he was like, he was a big time money guy for them. And like, I grew up around all those people, you know, I've seen so much horrific shit, but I mean, it was fun. I actually enjoyed a lot of it, but, I mean, a lot of parts were brutal for a guy, you know, a young kid to watch, you know?
Your pops was from Brooklyn?
He was from Brooklyn, yeah, but he got involved with the mob in Connecticut and from the Boston and New York area. Yeah. Yeah, he owned all kinds of package stores. He was in the liquor business. He was a party guy, you know. He loved to have a good time. He was a good guy. He would take all the neighborhood friends that I had when we were growing up and put us all in his Cadillac and bring us to Shea Stadium for the Mets games all the time, you know. Like, take us out to eat. He spared no expense, you know. He'd pull up in his leisure suit in his Cadillac and get out, and he'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm boiling traps in a fucking thing up. I got the neighbor's beeswax and I'm melting it to dip my traps. And he's like, my father loved animals.
He's like, I want a DNA test. Greg, I'm sorry.
Yeah. He's like, what? He goes, you're boiling your fucking trap. He goes, I'll give you $1,000 right now if you don't kill another animal. So I said, all right. You know, and me being like him, took the 1,000 and did it anyway. You know what I mean?
Oh man, that is too funny. Oh my god.
Yeah. He used to donate money to like animal rescue and all kinds of shit like that. You know, like, oh yeah.
Was he a dog guy? Did you guys have?
We had 3 dogs all the time. You know.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Cats, dogs, guinea pigs, hamsters. Oh my God, shit everywhere. Matter of fact, when the feds raided our house, I was a senior in high school, and they throw me down on this orange shag carpet out of the 70s we had, and my father, they lay down next to me. We're both handcuffed looking at each other face to face, and there's feds and state police going through the house, and my father, he looks at me, he goes, that's right where Ollie took a shit this morning. And we started, because my face was in the carpet, So we started laughing so hard, the cops were like, what the fuck are you guys laughing at,
He kept his composure the whole time.
Oh, yeah. He was a trip, man, definitely. But Vietnam vet.
But he was never into fishing. He never fished, really.
Never. No, never.
That's crazy, man. You just got into it somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, the closest I ever seen him into fishing was he drove me to Corey's Trout Farm, which was in North Haven, where I loved that place. It was like you paid and caught trout, and you paid by the pound when you caught one,
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was just like it was like heaven for me when I was a kid. So he would bring me there whenever I he had a chance. But he wouldn't fish. He didn't give a shit, But we played a lot of sports. Me and my brother were big time athletes. And my brother, I played linebacker for URI. He played linebacker at Yale at the same time. And then my brother was a big time baseball player, pitcher for the Olympic Team USA. He pitched all around the world. He would have been drafted for sure. But he went to OCS and he graduated from Yale, an officer, and then went right into the Gulf War.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
he did 3 tours.
You've got a pretty competitive family then. I mean, I'm sure have been competitive since you guys were kids, probably.
Yeah, definitely. He was a little older, and he was a really good pitcher. And he used to always make me get up against the fence in the backyard and whip balls at me, like try to hit this one, and I'd be shitting my pants,
Yeah, but you couldn't back down. You couldn't walk away from it.
Right. And so by the time I got to like majors where there was a home run fence and the Babe Ruth field was on the other side, he'd be pitching in the Babe Ruth field and I'd be hitting home runs into his field, and he'd like give me the high five and a thumbs up as I jogged the bases. I would see him on the mound,
Do you have any superstitions with fishing?
No.
None at all. You don't believe in any of it?
No, I mean, I believe in the science of it, but superstitions, no.
Talk to me about the science of it. What's the most ideal time to target stripers?
Well, I mean, the striped bass, especially all fish, they listen for what they eat. Like all those colorful lures and all that shit, it doesn't mean anything because they don't really see well. They're nearsighted. They can't see shit. And especially in like deep water, dark water at night, like how do they find an eel? It's because your swivel made a little noise or your weight or something while you were drifting or something made some sound. You know what I mean? They pick that up. They have like receptors in their head, like sonar. All fish do. You ever see how when there's a massive school of fish, they're all zooming all around in a certain pattern and none of them hit each other? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, so they listen for what they're eating. So when I made the rattle sinker, I was, I was in marine biology at URI, and underwater sound was a big thing for me, like learning sounds. I had a hydrophone. I still do. I like to listen to my koi eat pellets when I throw them in the water, shit like that. It's cool. I was always into sound. Like, I won't even watch a movie unless it has a good soundtrack. Like, Dances with Wolves has a good soundtrack. Like, certain movies, it's all about the sound. Like, so when it became a fisherman and I started understanding how fish hunt through sound, I'm like, I got to put some kind of sound in my weights because that'll definitely work, So the first rattle sinker was mimic the sound. I actually recorded lobsters in a tank, and lobsters make a 10 decibel clicking sound off their antennas, and it warns other lobsters there's a predator around. But striped bass listen for that. All fish do. Bass listen for crayfish. Crayfish do it. Everything makes some kind of sound. And underwater, sound travels so much faster and further. And especially in salt water with all the molecules in the salt, the sound travels 100 times faster than fresh water. Or in the air, especially, So So after I recorded the lobsters, I had a 200-gallon tank, and I would walk in with a hockey stick and poke them with it, and they would all make this clicking sound, and I was recording it with software I had on my laptop, and it was always in the decibel range at the same time. It was like a warning signal they were giving off. So I copied that sound. It took me a while with my rattle I was designing. It was different size bearings. I had to tweak the way the space in there. I had to tweak like the size of them to get it to be exactly the same. And then once I did, that was what I patented, that sound. That was part of the thing. And it worked like a dream. Like every time we would drift eels at night, me and my friends, we would bet on ourselves. We'd go out to the race or whatever, and we'd put up $100 each. I was catching 12 to their 1 because the fish were always hitting mine first, because they could hear mine coming. They couldn't hear theirs coming. You know what I mean? I worked on that technique of rattling where I would walk the sinker as I drifted on the bottom. Every 2 or 3 feet, it would hit the bottom. I would lift it up, and it would make that click, click, and then it would drop down. I'd hit the bottom, I'd lift it up again, click, click, click. I'd drop it back down as we're drifting. And then, over the years, I had spots that I found where lobster hang out, like lobster fishermen would hang out, where big bass would hang out behind boulders and stay behind those boulders because they're lazy and they're fat and they don't want to move. They don't want to chase shiners around. They're not like the rest of the smaller fish. They'll wait for that tide to slow down. And lobsters come out to feed when the tide slows down because they can grab. They have oven mitts. They can't, when stuff's blowing by them at 5 knots, they can't grab it as good. You know what I mean? So when the tides slow down, like from 1.4 knots or slower to slack, is when the lobsters are out feeding hard. And that's when the biggest fish are going to come out and feed hard too. So you get a small window to catch those bigger ones. And it's certain techniques I use to do it, I've got a lot of big fish doing that. Right now, it's a first quarter moon, and that's the perfect phase for striped bass fishing because the tide's a slower one. If you get a full moon or a new moon, the tide's ripping. You get a lot shorter of a slacked out tide window. You know what I mean? And a first quarter moon rises at noon, and it's dead high in the sky at sunset. And the fish like to use that as a backdrop as well. So I'd say the absolute best time to striped bass fish is during a first quarter moon at slack high tide around sunset. You look through your fish apps, look through moon phases too, find when there's first quarter moons, line them up to around high tides, and don't miss those days. You may only get 1 or 2 a year. If you're going to fish twice a year, those are the times you want to be out.
When you caught the world record one, you were using an eel, right? With the rattle sinker?
Yeah. Yep.
And what area were you in? It was somewhere in the Sound, right?
I was on Southwest Reef, which is a big lobster reef, and I was drifting a boulder where I knew big fish would hang out behind. Usually only one could fit behind it at a time. So when one was caught, another one would move in. Well, I was in a tournament, and I needed one more big fish before the season ended. Pete Viking had just caught like a 70-pounder or something, and we were close. So I didn't really need that big of a fish. I think I needed like a 50 to win, and it just so happened I caught that one. But usually I never kept the fish anyway. I would always let them go. And if it wasn't a tournament, I would have let that fish go.
What happened to the meat on that fish? Who ate it?
The state biologist took the fish and studied it. The best fishermen out there are surf casters. They love what they do. They don't need to kill anything. You know what I mean? They're just in it because they love it more than anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, they never were really a problem anyway. They never really killed a ton of fish. It's the boat people that are on charter boats that they want every fish they catch, and probably nothing even happens with it. They don't even eat it. You know what I mean? It's like a waste. They should allow no fish to be kept. That would be even better.
Who do you think's doing more damage, the charter guys or the commercial guys?
Commercial, definitely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know a lot of charter captains that are really good. Like they'll never do any harm to the fish. But that you got to have people on board that want to pay to fish and release the fish. People didn't want to do that. They couldn't take the carnage anymore. my friend Walter Anderson. He's one of the best fishermen I know, and he used to do charters all the time. He won't do it anymore unless somebody wants to go and release the fish. He just won't do it.
Who are some fishermen that you grew up, looking up to, or anybody that you still kind of look up to in the fishing game?
I used to always look in the fishing magazines, and when I saw pictures of Alberto with his big bass and stuff, I'd be like, man, this guy's cool. Look at all these fish he would catch. And then next thing you know, I'm like staying with him in Long Island to do some fishing show thing with him. It was a trip, but like he was always cool, and I used to love watching bass fishing shows when I was a kid with Jimmy Houston and Roland Martin and all those guys. They were
Bill Dance.
Bill Dance. God, there were so many of them. I met most of them too.
It's crazy, right? The industry,
yeah.
Right? It's not that big. Once you kind of get into it, you kind of meet everybody kind of fast.
You go to ICAST, you meet just about every single one of them. Oh yeah, I went once. Once was enough. I got to meet so many people, and like I'm not a charter boat captain or anything, but I've had a lot of people like want to come fishing with me, and I've taken like so many people, like athletes and movie stars and you name it, man, like musicians, just chefs and cooks and astronauts. I mean, I would have never even imagined I'd be fishing with these people my whole life. I fish with Wade Boggs a lot. He loves to fish and drink beer.
What does he drink? Budweiser heavies?
He drinks crap like Miller Lite,
Miller Lite. Yeah, Miller Lite, you could drink like 100 of those. That's like...
He's a goddamn hillbilly, He's more redneck than I am.
Who else we got? Did you ever end
Tony Dorsett. I fished with Tony Dorsett a few times.
That's cool. Did you ever end up fishing? Sorry to cut you off, but did you ever end up fishing with Cuban or any of those guys?
No, he's not much of a fisherman, He
he doesn't go for
Bonito. I went to a basketball game with him.
That's cool.
Yeah, but he's no fisherman.
And Damon John never took you up on the invite?
No, I wouldn't fish with him after we had our little thing.
Oh, that's funny. We just had somebody on the show who got a deal with him on Shark Tank, the guy from Line Cutters, Vance.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's very interesting to hear your story of Shark Tank in comparison to his, because he tried so fucking hard to get on that show.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I just got some kind of gift in my life. Like shit falls into my lap,
That's beautiful. You got to embrace it.
Yeah.
So
I do a lot of meditating and praying, so maybe God likes me.
Just begging God for forgiveness for all those big fish you killed.
Something like that.
No, I hear you. I mean, I know it's completely different, but I used to organize a ton of open boat striped bass trips, and I'd fill up 6-pack charters, sometimes 3-4 of them a week on multiple boats. And finally I really got to the point where I'm like, I'm just organizing the death of so many fish, and I just don't even want to be a part of this anymore. I don't give a fuck about if any of these captains are mad at me or anything. I'm done. I was just done.
Right. I get it.
That was it. So so you think anything else could be done in terms of conservation for striped bass right now? Like, do you see any room for improvement?
I mean, there's always room for improvement, but like getting shit done is almost impossible.
Why?
I don't know. It's just like anything else. It's just like so much red tape involved. It seems like, and people are fighting for keeping it. People are fighting to not keep it. Politicians, they don't want to piss anyone off. So it's like it is where it is.
Yeah, with the politicians, it's pretty much like whoever has the most money to give towards their campaign.
Yeah, they're fucking useless. I'm so sick of every one of them. I can't even take it anymore. Like, where do you find these people?
It's insane. It's really insane.
I can't even watch television. They're fighting with each other and slamming each other. No one's got a good fucking idea, It's just like, this guy sucks because he did this, and this guy does this, and he's an asshole. I'm like, you're both fucking assholes. I turn the TV off. I'm like, I can't watch it.
No, it's crazy out here right now. That's why fishing.
And I think I think if someone came along with a set of balls that really did it the right way, people would freaking cry about it anyway because they're a bunch of pussies. It's just like everybody's getting so soft. It's the cell phone, man. The cell phone's down in this society.
Softening everybody up.
It is. I mean, I get it, but think about when we were young. We were fucking putting on football helmets and jumping our bikes over trash cans and getting fucked up.
Yeah.
No one does that shit now,
Oh my God.
I saw two kids on a mini bike the other day. I was like, good for you guys,
Yeah, I saw a fucking kid the other day on his bike driving down the side of the road in busy traffic with his shirt pulled over his face. And I'm just like, and he wasn't even flinching. It was like, there's no way he could see through it. He was just risking it all. And I'm just driving past him he's doing a solid 30, 35,
Yeah. Doing a wheelie.
Like, this is the fucking future over here. This fucking it's flying blindly into the abyss saying fuck it.
Yeah. I mean, you can't blame him. Like, he's fucking probably at the point where he's just like, fuck it. Everything's fucked up. I'm going to ride this motorcycle blind into traffic.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's fucking that
I'll be good to go.
It's that bad out here. He's like, I'll go down as a legend in the fucking New York
I'll go down,
Post.
my friends will think I was cool.
Yeah. How do you go out? Oh, he rode his fucking mountain bike into traffic with his shirt wrapped around his face. Oh, sick.
Honest to God.
No, I watched that movie Idiocracy the other day by accident.
Oh yeah, was it any good?
No, it's like this old movie with Owen Wilson or Luke Wilson where everybody in the future is just way dumber. And and I was just
it's
thinking,
probably pretty
like,
right on.
I was like, shit, this isn't too fucking far off from everything. This was made like 10 years ago. This is fucking scary. Like,
it's right. It's true because like even with work, there's no young kids coming up that want to do any of this shit.
Nobody wants to work.
No. So it's like, I never thought I'd become in a position of such like that I'm in at like on the work scene because I just never thought it would happen, but there's just nothing better coming along, They're like, all right, this guy's kind of fucked up and he's been on fire.
They're
and
like, but we got zero prospects.
He's all we got. Give him a fucking raise.
Well, we can't lose him. So
yeah. At least he wants to be here. Oh shit!
Shit is crazy, man. So
it's the beginning of the end, man. I'd hate to say it, but I don't talk to really anybody in the fishing community anymore. I mean, I really don't want to fucking talk about fishing anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm happy you gave me your time today. I know it's been brutal.
No problem.
It's been brutal talking about fishing with me, but
I mean, it's not terrible.
I'm joking around. No.
Yeah.
So what do you think's next for you? You got any bucket list fishing trips? What do you want to catch next? Like what else you want to do?
Well, I'm going to start taking some trips to the Midwest to bow hunt. I got as far as Ohio, but
all for deer.
I think I'm going to start getting into. I have some friends from Montauk that I met through the fishing, and they have a place out in I think Kansas and Nebraska. They hunt, So
probably get some big bucks.
Yeah. So, I think I'm going to do a lot more of that.
How close?
In the future.
How close do you have to get with the bow to get a clean shot on them?
I'm pretty lethal within 30 yards. 30, 40 max. My longest shot I ever was 56 yards, but that was a Hail Mary, and it just happened to work out. I should have never took the shot.
56 yards.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
You think you'll ever go for elk or anything bigger than deer?
Yeah. That's part of my plan. I want to do some elk hunting and bow hunt for moose and shit. Go to Alaska. I want to go to Alaska.
Drop a bull with a bow? That would be crazy.
Yeah. I just that's kind of I think where I'm headed.
Would you ever try to drop a grizzly with a bow?
You know what? I'm a bear lover. I got this bear. He comes to my house every day, and he's in trouble right now because he ate a donkey down the street, and they fucking have a lynch mob looking for him.
Oh shit!
But yeah, he showed up here one day when I first moved in. He was laying on my back porch. And I'm like, and somebody had brought me some apples, and he was laying there eating the apples, and I'm like, this is so fucked up. I never even seen a bear before. So I opened the door and I kind of pushed him with my socks on, and he got up. He was pretty big, and I'm like, fuck it. I went out there. I go, you want these apples? I go, you can have them, but you got to eat them away from the house. So I brought him out. He followed me out in the yard.
Rules.
I dumped him. Yeah, I got a million videos of this guy. I named him Bad Company. Anyways, over the last 3 years, he's gotten so big, and he stands up for me. Like he stands up right next to me, and he rips the bird feeders down. I walk right up to him and video him and shit. He had a hurt paw. I gave him some antibiotics and grapes one year and healed it. It looked like he sliced his foot open on glass.
It's a long-term relationship.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But now, so the DEP, they wanted to dart him and tag him. And I talked to them about it. I'm like, he's not that bad. I got a million videos just sitting here talking to him. He doesn't show any aggression. They're like, well, he ate this lady's donkey, and it was in the front page of the town newspaper. The donkey was with her for 20 years. I'm like, well, he's a fucking bear, he was hungry, he didn't hurt a person.
Fuck even owns a donkey up there, bro.
Yeah. I go, bring your donkey in the house. What the hell? Put it in a barn or something. They go, well,
put it in the barn. Come on.
Yeah. Well, he went into the barn and he ate the hind quarter while it was alive. And the video showed the thing alive suffering for 6 hours. And like everybody in town went apeshit over the whole thing. And now they want to like relocate him. And I'm like, why are you going to relocate him? I go, he's just going to go eat a donkey somewhere else. It's not like he hurt anyone.
Everybody in town's advocating for donkey rights.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, fuck that donkey,
Oh man, I just saw something on Instagram about this movie that's coming out. I think it's a low budget movie. It's called Cocaine Bear. It's about a black bear it's a true story. It happened in the 80s. Yeah. I guess a smuggler dropped a ton of cocaine out of a plane into the forest.
He got all hooked up.
And this fucking bear went into the whole thing, got all into it, and then proceeded to go on like a fucking rampage. It's a true story. It's a true story. Awesome. I can't wait to see the movie. Oh my God.
What's the name of it?
Cocaine Bear.
Oh my God. When's it coming out?
I think it's out.
Oh my God. I got to see it.
That's crazy. Well,
that's great.
If anything happens to you and you disappear, we know Bad Company will be the person to look for.
Probably
so, yeah. Oh, that's crazy.
Well, I'll probably be the last thing I hunt. So when shit starts getting pretty bad and I can't wipe my ass anymore and I'm fucked up, I'll be out back fucking just swallowing the barrel. I'll be in my perfect happy place out there, my favorite tree stand, and that'll be the end of it.
What's the longest you've ever spent out in the woods?
Oh shit. I spend a lot of time in the woods, man. Every day. I'm always in the woods.
But like in one stretch of time without coming back to your house or anything?
6 days. Yeah.
That's crazy.
At least. Yeah, I used to go to Maine a lot and spend a lot of time in the mountains up there in Vermont. I had a place. And I remember one time in the 90s I was pretty fucked up and I thought I was a bear. I had this big woolly fucking sweater. I think we were like eating mushrooms or something fucked up, and I was at this. We were camping, and the next thing you know, I had no pants on. I had this fucking sweater on. It was like a bear rug, and I was just like wandering through the woods near the Kennebec River in Maine, like for hours on all fours. It must have been some good shit. It was the early '90s, I think. Yeah,
that sounds fucking awesome.
The good old days. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've done some crazy shit.
Oh my God.
I don't make it to Maine as much as I used to, but I love it up there.
Maine is amazing, especially the freshwater options. I mean, even if you just zoom in on Google Maps and look at Maine, it's just filled with water. There's just lakes.
Oh yeah.
They have ponds that I would call a fucking lake, and they call it a pond, and it's like gigantic.
I know. I found some really good times to fish like the Kennebec and the Roach River and tributaries of Moosehead Lake, and just I've caught so many big landlocked salmon and trout on the dry fly there, and camped on islands and shit, and go out there with the rowboat. Oh man, it's unbelievable up there.
Yeah.
You know, my favorite river is the San Juan in New Mexico. What a place!
What do they have?
They have this cutbow. It's like a rainbow cutthroat mix, and the water comes out of Navajo Lake. It's a tailwater. So even though you're in the desert, it comes out of the bottom of the dam, which is like the bottom of this lake that's 100 fucking feet. So the water's like 35 degrees, and it runs through the desert. So you're fishing in freezing water, and like 5 miles of it is some of the best trout stream in the world. The biggest one I ever caught was in Lake Tahoe. I caught it at 500 feet down. The lake is 1,800 feet deep.
Jigging?
Yeah. When I brought it up, it looked like a freaking beach ball. It was like from the pressure change, 10 or 12 pounder.
It's crazy. I really want to go to Bear Lake. I'm pretty sure it's in Utah.
Oh yeah.
I think it borders some states actually. I don't think it's just in Utah, but I know that's where the world record Laker was caught. I think that was like 85 pounds or something.
The world record, what the hell trout was that? It was caught in Pyramid Lake, Nevada. There's huge freaking cutthroat trout in there. Massive. And that lake is pretty scary. I almost drowned in there one time.
What happened?
But I jumped off a boat like in like a pencil dive, you know, in the middle of we were water skiing and partying, and I'm like, let me be a jerk and jump off the back of this boat and I went in this like straight pencil jump in, straight up and down, and I went down so deep that I couldn't get back to the surface in time. Like I was running out of air, and I was trying to get to the surface, and I just went down deeper than I thought, you know.
I've done that in Lake George actually.
It was pretty scary.
Cliff diving. I jumped off a 60-foot cliff, and I penciled into it. And
you went down 40, 50
I went
feet down.
Fucking so deep. I was like, holy shit. And then I was like halfway to the surface, and I had no air left, and I was like, this is not good.
You start to panic.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. I went way further down. Everybody on the boat was like, we didn't know if you were coming up. Like you were gone for a minute. Yeah. But you know, you're partying. You don't give a fuck. You just send it.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing just stupid shit.
Oh, man. You ever feel just lucky to be here?
I pray for my daughter every day. I'm glad she's not like me.
So has it been tough balancing like the success of everything and family and all of that? I know it's tough for a lot of people.
No, it hasn't been too bad. It's fun, actually, you know. Like, none of my friends really give a shit. No one really talks about it.
That's awesome.
It's like people that I don't know that make a big deal about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
it seems like you keep a pretty low profile, so you don't really have to deal with too many of those people.
Yeah. Just look on the internet if you want to see what the fuck's going on in the world.
Shit is falling apart.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to look because on Myerson Mountain, which I named it and have a big sign with my bear's head on it out front.
It's fucking awesome.
I'm the president. Like when I go into town, people are like, "Oh, you live on." They're like, "Who do you vote for, Trump or whatever?" I go, "Look, I'm the president of Myerson Mountain." I go, and if my black bear is the vice president, and if anybody comes up here, I'll shoot him in the fucking face. And they're like, "This guy's great," you know.
It's fucking awesome, dude. You got your own mountain. You got a pet bear.
Yeah.
Man,
like,
how much better can it get?
I got a bobcat named Jack, you know.
Oh my God, that's sick, dude. You're killing it, Greg. Killing it.
I've been growing wildflowers. That's my thing, man. I got this huge, I've been clearing land, and as I clear it, I plant wildflowers. And holy Christ, it gets so beautiful up here in June now. Oh my God. It used to be just like all woods, but now I got maybe a couple acres cleared, and I bought all these seeds online, and I just keep tilling a little bit every year and adding more. And it just comes in. It's unbelievable. And I got this old Willys Jeep, an old 48. I've been making these Jeep trails around the property so I could check all my, I could get to any of my tree stands, my ladder stands out there, you know. And I just try to maintain it, you know, and make good habitat and plant stuff that they'll eat and manage the herd, you know.
Managing the herd.
I got some slammers out here that I won't even shoot right now.
Just watch them pass by.
Yeah. It's like I'll shoot like a year old doe or something and eat that instead of the 12 pointer that's hanging out right next to me.
How'd you learn how to harvest a deer?
I've been doing this since I was a little kid, and right now I'm actually working on making my own longbow, carving it out of wood. And I collected arrowheads when I was a kid, so I'm making my own arrows out of like 400-year-old broadheads that I found from the Monoese Indians. Yeah, I've shot a few deer like that with my own arrows and bows and shit I've made.
But like, when you killed your first deer as a kid, how do you know how to butcher it? There was no YouTube then.
You just usually you're brought into it by someone else,
Yeah.
And I had a couple of older friends that were into it, and they took me on the first trip we ever went to Pennsylvania, and I was young. And I shot my first buck, and they showed me, and then I learned. Usually the student becomes better than the teacher,
Did you have any mentors with fishing like that in terms of the striped bass?
Yeah. I had a couple that taught me how to striped bass fish, and I just absolutely fell in love with it, like right away.
Yeah.
A guy named Mr. Carlson, who's still alive, and he owns a wood flooring business. He put floors in all my places, but he's still around, and his son's a fisherman. They're all fishermen still, and we fish once in a while together still. But he was the one that first would bring me out there to the race and drift deals, and that to me, being a young kid, was just unbelievable. I remember me and his son Vern, we both had a monster on at the same time, and he had us both by the seat of our pants, and our feet were off the ground, and we're trying to reel these things in, and he's got us both by the belts, and we're like fighting these fish. We were little kids, I mean, after shit like that, you just love it,
What's some advice that you would give to up and comers in the fishing industry trying to make a living out of it?
I would say if you don't fucking absolutely love it, like what you're going to plan on selling or doing or making money doing, then don't fucking do it. And if you absolutely love to fish and you're going to try to make money in the fishing industry doing something else other than fishing, don't fucking do that, because you'll never be able to fish. And be careful for what you wish for, because you just might get it.
Ain't that the truth? Oh, man.
Yeah, there's two big regrets in life: not getting what you want and getting it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you ever regret catching the world record striped bass?
I don't regret catching it. I regret killing it. They tried to tell me it would have died anyway, but they made it.
Tell me something. Tell me something fucking new. Everything does. Like, are you kidding me?
That's all you got for me after all that?
Well, don't worry. It would have died eventually.
It would have died anyway. Yeah.
Oh my god! But it was worth it. And then, you think there's any fish out there that are swimming above the $120 range?
Yeah, I do.
I read a newspaper clipping from I think it was 1884, and they were talking about stripers that have been caught that were 150 plus pounds.
I believe it. Yeah. I believe the biggest striper that's going to get caught is going to come out of California reservoir pretty soon.
Really? Why is that?
Yeah. Because they introduced them out there in the 80s, and they got really strict management, and the fish are just getting huge out there in those reservoirs, the San Luis Reservoir, and even in San Francisco Bay and places like that, they introduced them, and there's big stripers out there. People just don't know it, Those are all East Coast Chesapeake Bay stripers they introduced out there, and they're all into the aqueducts and moving into all the reservoirs, and there's some monsters. My buddy's a guide out there, and he shows me some just monster fish he catches. Roger George. He's a really good fisherman.
What are they using, all swim baits?
Yeah, and I don't think you could use live bait or anything like that. So he always asks me what techniques that he should try, and he's getting he's really good guide out there. I think he was in the Olympics with Bruce Jenner or whatever her name is, Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah.
Is that it? Is that? It's a chick now, right?
That's who it is now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they were Olympian. Yeah, I mean, Roger was in the Olympics with Bruce Jenner. He's a guide now.
He was running
out there. Yeah, he was a runner. Yeah, they were all like the founders of Nike too.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they're all rich now.
And your brother works up there in Portland with Nike?
Yeah, my he's getting ready to retire. He's bigwig. He's like their global finance director or some shit like that. As a matter of fact, I had like when Roger George called me out of the blue, not even knowing I had a brother that worked at Nike, and Tinker Hatfield, who's a fisherman too, who designed the Air Jordans. You know, like these are the number 2 and 3 guys there. You know what I mean? And they're calling me. They want to come out here and fish. You know. So I call my brother who's in a meeting at Nike. I go, who the fuck is Tinker Hatfield and Roger George? You know, in a text. Next thing you know, the phone rings. He never calls me. He's like, how the fuck do you know those names? I go, well, they're coming out here to fish with me. He's like, oh, fuck, you know, because he knows I'm probably going to, like, he's fucked. He's, you know, he's like, oh, shit. He goes, I'm coming too, you know, so.
Yeah, he has to moderate it.
Yeah. So I got these 3 hanging out at my house for a week. We're striper fishing. Walter Anderson's guiding us. And then they went to Striper Fest with us when I won Angler of the Year in 2013. We had a great time.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool.
Greg, this has been a great interview, man. Thank you so much for your time.
So what do you do? What do you do with the interview?
I'm going to edit it a little bit so I don't sound like a dickhead, and then I'm gonna. Well,
try to make me not sound so fucking stupid either.
I will too. I will. I got you. No, it's usually me. I mean, I'm. You know.
No, I don't care really. I really don't give a shit. I really don't.
I'll edit out the part about you looking at Lori's titties.
No, that's a great part.
All right, cool. This is fucking awesome, man. I feel like people are going to learn a lot more about you through this. This is going to be great. So I'm gonna post it. You know, I have a podcast, and it just goes right to this one server, and then it goes to every place that you could possibly find podcasts once it goes on that. Yeah, so I just upload
What's it called?
Brooklyn Fishing Club podcast.
Excellent. I'll check it out.
Yeah, definitely check it out. We've had some cool people on this past season, and most of them have been from me getting to go to ICAST last year, which was cool.
Really?
So, yeah. I got Mike Iaconelli, Bill Dance.
I met Ike there.
Yeah, Ike is cool.
I always wanted to fish on the tour against those guys. I think I'd be a pretty good bass fisherman.
What did you think about that whole walleye thing?
What walleye thing?
Oh, you didn't even see that? These fucking guys. No. This was like the biggest news. It was even in major news outlets. These guys got busted on.
I think I heard Howard Stern talking about it.
Yeah, on the walleye circuit, they got busted with weights in the walleye, and they even shoved fillets of other walleye into the bellies of the walleye, which was just fucking bizarre.
They filled them with
weights and fillets. It's fucking weird.
No shit.
Yeah. And they cut them.
Well, they weren't rattlesnakers, were they?
No.
Fuck. That would have been good advertising.
That would have been terrible. These guys are fucking done. These guys are done.
No, that would have been fucking cool. I'm like, look, these fuckers are using rattlesnakers.
Look, they work.
Yeah. They were so good, the fish actually ate the sinkers.
No, but they got fucked up. They're done. I think they actually had to go to court. All types of shit.
Really?
Yeah, because they won a bunch of money on previous tournaments, and people are wondering if they fucking were doing it then too. So, which they probably were. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, of course.
But they're just fucking idiots. They fucked up.
Yeah.
You don't put that. I'm gonna edit this out too. But you don't put that many fucking weights in, guys. Come on, fucking, fucking get it together. Jesus Christ, it's gonna be a little suspicious. It's a fucking 16-inch fish. It weighs 8 pounds.
It weighs 8 pounds, right?
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh man, bro, I feel like we could shoot the shit all day. I would love to drink beer and fish with you sometime, bro.
Yeah.
I love trout fishing.
Yeah, sometime. Well, I have to come out and when I get this river down, there's some big bass in this river. I'm just figuring it out.
Let's do it, man. We'll bring Alberto.
I control live bunker in here, and that's how I've been getting the biggest ones.
Let's fucking do it. I'm down.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's be in touch. I know you're a recluse, but let's stay in touch.
Yeah, man. I'll talk to you soon. Good talking to you.
Great talking to you, Greg. Have a good rest of the day.
You too.
Just waiting for you.